We're all excited you came. I'm Penny's brother. I don't need a big introduction. She's Italian. She's from the Bronx. She went to school. She became a talented young lady, and she did struggled around, and she did Odd Couple as Myrna Turner. That's her credit. And then suddenly she became Laverne and Shirley. Yay! Yay! And then she did a million movies, but this is the most important thing. You're this women, I see. She was the first woman here. Before Penny, no woman director had ever directed, no woman director ever directed a picture that made $100 million. But Penny decided to do two. So she did League of Their Own and Big. Both made her the first one to ever do that. So let me say two of my most exciting words in show business. Penny Marshall. Hey. Hey. A pioneer for men and women.
Have a seat,
I'm sitting down here. Look.
I don't trust anyone. I got robbed in New York going to NBC. I'm bringing my purse with me.
Always with her, the purse. Nobody make a move, okay? I'm guarding. So here we are. What should we tell them? Your real name is?
Father drew the birth announcement, and Carol was written small, then Penny big, and then Marshall. And I said, what did you expect, Teddy Lamar? This was my birth announcement.
That was the birth announcement.
But they never told me my name was Carol.
We were a secretive family.
And I was named after Carol Lombard, so it's Carol with an E because my mother loved her. And so they never told me my name was Penny. And the reason they said my name was Penny was because my brother and sister wanted a horse. They were planned, by the way. My brother and sister were planned on being born.
Yes.
I was not a plan.
A surprise!
I was a mistake.
But they had to tell you, right?
They told me, yeah. They didn't want you. We didn't want you yet. You were born. And you were a miscarriage in 6 months, but you're so stubborn you held on.
That was her first triumph. She held on.
I held on. And so,
but they told you that at what age? They
told like 5, like I'm supposed to understand what this is about.
Didn't know what they were talking about till 7. And, I'm not one.
Oh, that's pleasant. But they never told me my name was Carol, so they called me Penny because they were saving up for a horse, so they saved their pennies. So that's why I was named Penny.
We preferred the horse, but we had to say, okay. She turned out great.
This is in the Bronx. Where are they going to put a horse? And in a 64 apartment building. So when I went to kindergarten, I was like, And my teacher, Mrs. Goodblatt, said, there's something wrong with your child. She doesn't respond to a name, because I'd say, Carol. And so they called my mother to school, and they said, she doesn't know. You got to call her Penny. She does not respond to the name Carol, which she wrote till I graduated high school. Every year she had to write to the teachers. Why did they name me Carol? That's just one of the tricks I had to.
That's what she had to grow up with.
One of the many.
With the parents, and then we had a meeting early when you were growing up.
Well, this was it. We also lived, it was like the economy is now, by the way, with my blind grandmother, who accused me of making her blind.
It's another story. You'll read it.
She tripped over my bike, She had glaucoma. She wouldn't go to the doctor. Okay, that's another story. And my grandfather, who we liked.
We like Grandpa.
Oh, I got to talk into this breast, it seems.
There you go. Now you
I got it. I could hear myself. But my grandfather had one kidney. I don't know where he lost the other one. And then they moved him across the hall to live with 2 other ladies. I don't know. And but everyone in the building had grandparents that lived with them. And
3 kids, mother, father, grandparents. It was.
And nobody liked each other much. So when my brother and sister, who were much older than me, when you're 8, 7, 8, that the age difference is quite different than it is now. And so my brother called us together.
The two girls and me. You want to tell them?
You tell them, you said it.
No, I could notice then. I was like 17. I noticed our parents were not leading us very well. They were okay. My father was always working, and my mother was down in the cellar of the apartment building teaching dancing. So I remember calling Penny and my sister Ronnie and say, listen, we're not getting much help here. So I think it's shaky. So I suggest that the three of us stay together. Our strength is in the three of us together, and that's what we should do. And we held hands, and that was it.
Except the problem was I was 8, and they both went away. They went to Northwestern. My sister made the SPs, so she skipped a year. My brother went first, then my sister, and then my brother went in the Army. So there I am, an only child.
I was in Korea. She was
went
home
to
alone.
Korea, and to Northwestern, and then my sister got married and stayed there. My brother came home a little bit when he wrote for comics and stuff with his laundry in an attaché case. But I didn't know the man. And so they were gone. I wanted a brother or sister, and they said, you have them. So I believed in invisible people. And I had the blind grandmother.
And grew up alone in the
Grew
house.
up alone, pretty much. So I played outside. That's what we did. We played. We played out in front of the building. There was always some lady hanging out the window or on a bridge chair watching and reporting to my mother in the cellar in the dancing school. Penny's in the gutter. She's hanging on the fire escape. She's on the roof. So that was...
That was your youth, but you took a little dancing in the
I
South.
took a lot of dancing. I had to.
They would make kick lines, and Penny would unzip the other kids' leotards a lot. And my mother would get mad. I was the drummer because I couldn't dance, so I played drums for Penny. See, you didn't know that. But I remember...
On the Vernon Shirley, whenever there was a drummer, it was my brother.
Hey, I belong to Musicians Union. But what I was going to say is, even then, when you were growing up, you were quick. You were always smart. And
I was fast.
Fast and quick. But you didn't like people who were not...
I didn't like anyone who was stupid or inept. I don't care if you're ignorant about something. That I understand. There's things I don't know stuff about. But stupid, you can't fix. Can't fix with a nose job, breasts, anything. You're stupid, you're stupid. And inept, I just have no tolerance for, Ignorant, that's a different thing. They just don't know. Then you can educate them about it.
Yeah, even tonight you were...
Well, because they booked me here on Yom Kippur. That was the first booking. And I'm not Jewish. We could pass, can't we?
Yeah, we passed pretty good.
And I said, don't you look at a calendar, folks? It's Yom Kippur. It's the highest of Jewish holy days. So now they do it on the night of the first presidential debate.
Perfect, right? They solved it.
They solved it. I was in New Jersey on Rosh Hashanah. In New York, and I'm going like, there's no Jews in New Jersey, Please. So I don't like that. That's, to me, ineptness and stupidity.
And then you moved through college, New Mexico, right?
Went from the Bronx, all the schools, yours. Sorry, I'm talking to my breast again. DeWitt Clinton, he went to an all-boys high school. I went to Walton High School, which was all girls. My sister lied about her address and went to the co-ed school, Evander Childs. All schools are at risk now. All our schools. And we came from a very working-class Jewish-Italian neighborhood. And my father denied he was Italian. And we were sent to kosher camp, by the way.
You're not big with religion, but you had a moment there.
Well...
We're Italian Protestant, but when did you have...
But you're not the same Protestant I am.
You're Lutheran, I'm Presbyterian.
No, I'm Congregationalist.
Oh.
What are you?
I'm Presbyterian, she's Lutheran. Where's Ronnie?
Ronnie,
Hello,
there's
Ronnie.
my sister, Ron.
Stand up a minute, Ronnie. This is our other sister. Yeah, we got... There we go. Good.
She'll come up in a minute.
Later. Ronnie.
Wait, I don't know what you are. You can't both be Episcopalian.
No, no.
We were christened Episcopalian, we were confirmed Presbyterian.
Confirmed
I
Presbyterian.
was confirmed congregational.
Because Mom liked religion.
They had a
No,
stage.
if they had a building next to it that she could put her dance recitals onto, that's what we were confirmed. But she sent us to kosher camp because one of my godparents, she was covering all bases because she was an only child, and my father disowned his family. And so she said they had better food. And you want to eat spam? Oh, no. And you want to eat fish every Friday? So we went to kosher camp. So we are not religious. My brother goes to the little church. He goes to pray.
I pray sometimes.
I
But
only know how to pray in Jewish. I could Baruch Atah, I could light the candles, I could bless the bread, I could bless the wine. And so I
that
went
was
to
religion.
services every Friday night and Saturday morning.
you did get to New Mexico.
I went from the Bronx, from Walton High School, to New Mexico, because they took anyone from out of town, number one. And the New York public school system was great at that time. You had to take state regents exams, which were harder than any test you'll take in college. 4 years of history on one test. And they said, why did the Roman Empire fall? I said, carelessness. I didn't. What did I get?
She had good
So-
answers, but they didn't give her an A.
Yeah, so it was an essay. I don't do essays. So my father wanted us all to go to out-of-town college to lose our Bronx accents.
Look how good it worked.
So he came up with the University of New Mexico, which my mother, I thought, would complain, but she thought it was near New York, New Jersey, and New Hampshire. All the news were together, New England. So she had no idea where I was going, which was fine by me. So I went to Albuquerque, go Lobos, beat the Aggies. I just heard from the university they want me to come to a basketball game. And I said, maybe, all right. I didn't graduate because I got married to a football player. Had my daughter, Tracy, who I am now a grandmother of 3.
Three great-grandchildren.
And my
And
grandson, who I love, who I've known the longest, he turned 20 Monday.
20-year-old grandson, I don't believe it. That's
And
my
then 2
part.
little girls, 6 and 7,
They're very true.
from a different marriage.
But that kind of changed your life. After there, you had to work.
Then I came out, I had to work. I taught dancing because what else? I didn't like getting up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So tonight I'm okay. I told him to take a nap. 'cause
That's
he-
today. That's late.
But I like to talk into the breast.
But you did try other things. You were.
I taught dancing school because you didn't have to get up early. And then the Albuquerque Light Opera came and said, do you want to choreograph a show? I said, no. Do you want to be in it? Do I have to audition? No. Okay. Those were the people who stayed up at night. I like people who stayed up at night. So that's where I first started doing little theater, like Oklahoma, South Pacific, those kind of shows. So when Mickey, bless him, he's a great guy.
The football
The
player.
football player. Tracy's father, my daughter Tracy's father, we separated, got divorced. I decided I'm not going back to the Bronx with my crazy parents, who really hated each other by now.
They were
And-
parting and now making it known they were. Before they didn't say.
No,
it.
when it was like in my teens, my mother once said, okay, we're getting divorced, decide who you want to live with. Everyone
But
stayed
they
together.
should have. But anyway, you did sing.
They got me a dog every so often.
Yes.
And then after a year, the dog would disappear, always in the country. He's much happier in the country. So 2 dogs went to the country.
This is her childhood.
This is my childhood. So I'd run out. I'd write notes and open the window and hide in the shower and see if I got any reaction at it. I'm running away to Arizona. It was always Arizona. And I'm sorry. And so
you
New
did
Mexico,
run
I
to-
knew where it was.
Yes.
And but if they got nervous, which they never did, I'd let one of the parakeets out to fly around.
But I remember you came.
I
to-
came to see him rather
was
than going
there in
back to the
LA.
Bronx. I came to Los Angeles. Remember, my parents were in New York. My sister was in Chicago. I was in New Mexico. He was in California. all in different time zones. So you could see it wasn't so close. As far as we could get from our parents. And so I went out to see my brother, who already was writing and had a career, and who I wouldn't have a career if I didn't have a brother like him.
But you came to figure it out. I remember. You said, you see, you got to find, I said to her, just figure out what it is you love. Tell me what you love.
Nothing.
That was her answer. I said, well, I can't help. Maybe you should go figure out what you maybe liked a little.
Well,
And she said something about...
I like people who stay up at night.
Oh, good. So
But I
it's
wasn't a person who went to a bar to find a date. I didn't drink and that, so I had to find people who stayed up at night.
But she finally said she liked a little entertainment, and she tried. But then she would come to me and say, I'd say, hey, you're doing great. And you'd say something about they don't want your type.
Well, I wasn't perky. I'm not a perky person. You know? And at the time, it was Karen Valentine and Sally Field, the Flying Nun. Everyone was perky. I'm not too perky.
They were perky, not perky.
You know, they'd say, okay, let's go for a hoagie and a Coke or something. And I want to know how far the walk is, you know? How far? Do we go in a car? So I wasn't one of those perky people. So my brother said, you're not going to work till you're 30. I said, all right. So I could type. Look, I'm dating myself. That's why I will not text or email you. I got paid to do that job.
She took jobs, whatever was there.
Then I found out I didn't know from unemployment that we had no money in New Mexico. But I mean, unemployment, that wasn't nice. And so, but in Hollywood, it's a way of life, you know? So you learn that, I said who on that girl, and I got more than I did a week of typing.
She got little stuff, but she helped. I did a show called The Odd Couple, and she helped me cast it.
I did help you cast it.
Right? You met, I was trying to cast it, and you met.
Now, I had got a job that I wasn't related to anyone on a show called Then Came Bronson.
Wow!
And a long time ago.
You heard me.
It was with Michael Parks on a motorcycle with that OJ hat. And we're in this neighborhood. And he said, who's it? I had to go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And he said, who's guesting? And I said, Jack Klugman, the kid Mark Lester from Oliver, and some blonde girl. And so he said, ask Jack if he wants to do a series on The Odd Couple. I said, all right. I didn't know rules. We didn't know rules. So I'm up in Jackson Hole sitting with Jack. I said, you want to do a series based on The Odd Couple? He said, who are you? So I said, Penny. And he said, why are you asking me this? I said, my brother Gary is going to do a show based on The Odd Couple. And he had Tony Randall, I think.
Yeah, we got him.
And so then Jack landed up playing Oscar Madison.
Yes,
and then it was a one-camera show the first year. Then when they went to multi-camera, which is in front of an audience, like real humans, like you are, and they needed more characters, so Oscar needed a secretary. So I think it was Jack who said, why don't you use your sister? She's the one who got me into this. So I became Jack Klugman's secretary, Myrna Turner.
Yes. Tony Randall and Jack Klugman taught her a lot, and she was delightful.
No, Jack was helpful. He pushed me onto marks. I didn't know some stuff.
If there was a mistake, Jack would say, my fault, my fault. He was a good man.
He was a great guy. He is a great guy.
He still is.
And his son is a good writer. My daughter told me that. She read the script.
Adam Klugman, very good writer, and he has a nephew who writes for some of the big shows. But anyway, through that, you went along, and they didn't pay you well because...
I was what they called recurring then, 7 out of 13. I don't know what they call it now. They wouldn't give me a $100 raise or something. So
they gave everybody else but
So he says, you'll get even.
I told her that because I believed her.
And so...
someday we did. But then after that...
I went to Paul Sand in Friends and Lovers for Jim Brooks at MGM, which didn't last that long. And I played the his sister-in-law who hated him, which I didn't know why. They never explained that exactly to me.
It was not a clear plotted show, but
No.
it was funny in its way.
No, they cast a girl as his girlfriend, and then she got a nose job, and they fired her. So
Good
then,
to listen to that.
you're not as funny at the beginning without, when, you know, you get that. You don't need it. Your insecurity sometimes is what makes it funny. I don't like my posture. I don't like my teeth. I'm a little fat now, you know.
But very healthy. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into the health.
But very healthy. But then
So I did that. Then
you went into writing a minute.
I started writing on this bicentennial thing for Zoetrope on the, because it was going to be the anniversary, you know, whatever, the bicentennial. So Cindy Williams, who I knew because she dated a friend of my brother's, we were in the room writing Exterior Europe Day. Yeah, what do we
They
do?
wrote together, her
We
and
wrote.
Cindy, a
Right.
team.
And so my brother called and said, "What do you do?" And I'm writing.
We both talk like that.
We
a
talk
little
a
bit.
little bit. And so he says, "You want to do Happy Days? You know, if Cindy wants to do it, she could play opposite Ron Howard because they were good. American Graffiti. If not, take either part." Freddie Silverman, who was the head of ABC, went to Garry.
Thing I said, I got two girls everybody likes. All the girls on TV were fancy. Nobody like worked in a factory. They went and they did Laverne and Shirley and.
We had to become virgins, though. The girls who put out now didn't put out.
No, they were. We used to say they were pure as snow, but they drifted. We had. There were no. We had to insinuate.
Well, we weren't allowed to say, "Did you do it?" We couldn't say the word "it." So that's where we came, "Did you vodio do do?"
She made up
Made a
photos.
bigger thing out of the whole deal. I did not vodio do do. You vodio do do. You know, it became a bigger thing than saying, "Did you do it?" No. You know? But that was family hour back then. Now they say anything on television, no matter what hour.
But you didn't vodio do, but you voted. They didn't know.
Vodioed.
Vodioed. We didn't know what that meant, but it passed as smut.
You know, we would put things in scripts and say things so that we'd like to hear what the censors had to say.
Yeah, just on purpose. But the show, one of the few sitcoms ever, Laverne and Shirley debuted #1 in the ratings. Debuted, the first show ever. And they worked in a factory. But out of that came success. Now, somewhere you must have known. I mean, when you do a show, you never read the paper, you do a show, but somewhere you knew you were a hit somewhere.
We didn't know nothing, you know, except we were working hard because we don't read the trades and stuff like that. But we had done, and we did an album, Laverne and Shirley Sings, which Laverne doesn't, by the way. We went to do a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. So we went into New York. This is the first season was done. We had like a couple of weeks off before it was time to do the next season. So we were in New York, and I was making signs. I was married to Rob Reiner at the time from All in the Family. Again, our show knocked his show out of the #1 spot, didn't go so big. But that was a great show, All in the Family. And he thought it would only last, so we put off our wedding because he thought it would last 13 weeks, and that was it. But it lasted a lot longer. And then he left the show because he was support. But at this time, Tracy and Rob were at home. And so I was making signs, Happy Thanksgiving, you know, to hold up in this car with our music coming out. And we'd go going down, it's not Fifth, it was CPW. There's barricades and cops, hold the crowd back. Well, the cops weren't holding the crowd back. They came too. The cops and the crowd came to
For autographs.
For autographs.
They signed their
We're big with the
badges.
cops and firemen. Very big, as you should be. Always call your firemen first, by the way. They will come to prevent, whereas cops, something has to happen. So anyway, I'm just telling you, know your local firemen.
That's the truth.
They work very hard.
And that's when you knew that you were...
Yeah, then we realized something's going on here. You know, and then we kept doing the show. And my brother always said, if the ratings drift, if you're not #1, it's not that you're not good, it's just somebody else's turn. You all get turns.
That's true. That is
know,
true.
so-
But that they during their turn, they had like 45 rate share, 45, 50 share. Now you get a 9, you're a hit. But that
Well,
was
there were
a-
3 channels until Barry Diller made Fox. Now there's 8,000,000 channels, and a lot of realities people, I have no idea who they are. I don't know who they are or what they did.
but they're there. But
They're there.
then
They're cheap.
they're there. But then the show went off, and
Yeah. I went away. I got divorced at some point from Rob, who's a good guy. And I called him. I said, look, I want you to tell, because he's got a wife and 3 kids, and my grandson went to school with 2 of his boys. And I said, I'm just telling you, tell your wife, your picture's in the book. And do you know who took our wedding pictures? It was 1971. How do I know? And so, but he said, did you tell the story about when? Did you tell the story about when? And I said, some of it I had. And so anyway, I was now.
it was a lovely wedding. Everybody was there. It was
But
fun.
they kept putting in the book all of Carl's guests, you know.
Yes, they didn't say your friends.
They wanted to mention as many names sometimes. That wasn't me, by the way. And
But you
and
were divorced and now what?
divorced, and then I became friends with Carrie Fisher. And
Remember Carrie Fisher?
who writes a lot of books and gets a lot of bipolar awards. Yeah. He said, I got to get another bipolar award.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. And she's very funny, and we were good best friends, and so she was going with Paul Simon, and she introduced me to Art Garfunkel. So we double dated for like 5 years.
This is a period I don't know about.
Well, I was in New York a lot. And so I wasn't hanging out in L.A. It was in New York. I'd go to New York on my weeks off from Laverne and Shirley to hang out with the Saturday Night Live people because I knew John and Chevy and all them and Gilda before
John Belushi. She said.
Saturday Night Live. Well, this looks like an old enough crowd. We went on a lot of trips. Carrie and I got along fine. I didn't know Paul and Artie hated each other. You know, I had no idea. They did the concert in Central Park, which we were happy because I asked them when would you sing something? I didn't know they didn't get along. And
They were
did.
standing together.
And they were in their apartment, in Paul's apartment, so they sang, and it was thrilling. It was one of the most thrilling nights of my life when they sang in the apartment. Then they did the concert in Central Park. And so they didn't look at each other. If you look at the video from that, they never look at each other. They're looking that way, the other one's looking that way. But I went on tour with them to Australia and New Zealand. Paul and Carrie would fight a lot. And so she didn't go, but I'd go. And I'd go shopping with Paul. And I was with Artie. He liked to walk. He'd take walks. You know, he'd go out for the paper. He'd be in New Jersey. You know, what are you doing in New Jersey? I took a walk. But he was a terrific guy, eccentric. But he taught me to travel because Rob didn't travel. He went to Hawaii. That was it. And so I went all over on a motorcycle to Europe with him. I had to fix the motorcycle, which I didn't know I could do.
Very
But he
talented with
couldn't.
a bike.
But I figured it out, and I fixed the BMW. And we went all over, came back for...
Just for me. She came back. We're always there for each other. I was doing a play in Boston called The Roast. Listen to this applause. It was a... It's a trivia question. What was the play at the Winter Garden before Cats? It was called The Roast. I wrote it. It lasted 3 nights. Cats lasted 18 years. So, but she came to help me with...
We give each other notes on our rough cuts of movies or whatever. And I came in with Artie. We snuck into Boston.
Because
parked the bike at Avignon. Sur le pont d'Avignon. Don't you remember that? We learned that in grade school. Okay, so came into Boston. Now, directing it is my ex-father-in-law, Carl Reiner. Starring it is my ex-husband, Rob Reiner. And my brother and his partner, Jerry Belson, wrote it. So I'm like hiding from them, you know, because Rob was a little depressed about something. He was sitting in a Swan in front of the Ritz-Carlton in a Swan with his mother. And...
But she had to hide. She didn't want to upset him.
I didn't want to upset him and make him nervous. So I ran to the hotel room, gave them notes, and then we left and actually met up with Paul and Carrie in Washington, D.C.,
And
with
met-
the Star Wars for
And
something.
she helped me. And just to roast the head usher in Boston at the time, the only good thing, the head usher was Jason Alexander, and we've been friends ever since.
Right?
That's what, always something good comes out. But then you were wandering into the movie business, right?
Not yet. I was back on the bike.
Back on the
Back
bike
on the
more.
motor. We left it in Avignon, and so we went to England, and we went to Portugal, which was fogged in, and there was supposed to be some celebration, but they lied about that.
But did you love anything?
No,
Somewhere
I
you
liked
must have
going.
loved.
We'd stay in 5-star hotels to pensions. It didn't matter. And we took back roads. And it's something I should have done at 19, but I was a mother at 19. So Artie was good with that. And we had friends in south of France. Eric Idle and his, oh, there it is again. I'm going to have to move this thingy. I did that. Then we went into Italy. And then my sister's youngest daughter, Wendy, met us in Geneva, Switzerland, picked them up. I rented a car. So they learned, and then one would pack on the back of the bike, and the other one would learn how to drive. So they learned how to drive on the back roads of France. Not a bad place, better than Sepulveda. And so I went, it was a great trip then, I was gone a while. Then I came back, then it was like, now what do I do? And then, I was in New York because I had rooms in Lorne Michaels' apartment, Paul Simon's apartment, Artie's apartment,
She knew all those very talented people from Saturday Night Live.
And so I figured about time, I'm getting older, I should get my own place. So I bought an apartment, which they're now doing construction on finally, to get rid of the bottom apartment that I bought for my daughter when she had her baby, Spencer.
In New York, she did.
In New York. So I ran into Deborah Winger was doing Legal Eagles. Whoopi was doing Jumping Jack Flash. I met Whoopi. It was her birthday. We went to dinner. And we went and had dinner and then went up to our hotel room. Well, someone saw us. And I came back to L.A. for winter clothes, and then I got a phone call. We went to the Access movie, And I hadn't even been in enough one-camera movies, I knew multi-camera.
She directed on Laverne Shirley. She got
Yeah,
it.
but everyone did. Anyone want to direct this week? There's
I
so
tried
many
to.
doors.
That's how I kept them awake. I let them all direct. But Joel Silver was. He's the guy who called you. Who called you?
Joel Silver and Larry Gordon.
Producers, big producers.
Well, Larry was the head of Fox at the time. It was the executive du jour there. But every week,
They
another
change.
person was in charge. And it's too many lunches, in my opinion. I don't want to have lunch with this new person. They won't be there that long. Not the head. Baron Diller was the head of Fox. And he created Fox Network. So that became the fourth network of the 100,000 networks there are now. But he had a fourth network. And so they said, hey, do this. And they said, don't tell anyone. They screamed. I said, could I read it?
But they were shooting already, no?
They were 10 days into shooting, but they didn't like the way it was going.
So you must have said, well.
No,
it's
they
shooting.
saw me with Whoopi. Said they get along.
Good.
They knew me from Paramount. They knew I was reliable. I came to work.
And fun.
And so I called my brother and I said, what should I do? He says, it's a strange business. They pay you to learn. So, and he said, just get good shoes and finish it. Don't fall down. So I said, all right, I'll try it. And I have a good phone book. I have very good friends. Went through it because they only write for two people. Talking heads is not my idea of fun. So it was a big office. So I called in John Lovitz, the late Phil Hartman, Lynn Marie Stewart, Carol Kane, Jim Belushi, my brother, my daughter. Anyone around want to be? Tracy Ullman, I'm pregnant. That doesn't matter. Come in, you'll be at the ball. Michael McKean. I put everyone in who I knew could make up stuff.
And Whoopi liked funny people.
And Whoopi liked it, but Color Purple came out in the middle of shooting. The last thing the girl wants to be doing is getting up at 5 in the morning.
For Jumping Jack Flash.
Yeah. So, which I totally understood, but let's finish this sucker, and get it over with. And, I didn't understand it because they kept writing, Whoopi Saves the World. That wasn't her name. I said, I don't understand your campaign. I didn't understand a lot of things they did.
We were learning.
We will learn as you go along.
But that wasn't a smash, but
No.
you didn't stop you.
No, then Jim Brooks put big on my desk and said, this is your next movie. not knowing that the world had turned it down already. Every director had turned it down because there were two other movies, like Father, Like Son, and vice versa, with the same premise.
That's big.
And so it read nice. Everyone has that thought, when I'm big, I'm going on. We all had that thought in our lives. So I said, all right. And I went to Tom, said no. Went to everyone, said no.
But you had a good idea with who'd you go? Rob?
Well, I said, let me go another way, totally another way. I read Trump Penn. He said, one wait 8 years. He was too young. And so I said, let me go with a guy, man, instead of a boy man. So I said, call Bob De Niro, who I knew. I'm going up, in New York, hanging out. And so he wanted to do a commercial film. Now, I'd still pay to see him dance on the piano, by the way. And he's a behavioral actor. And he was very smart about a lot of things. He says his first instinct would be to look like this when talking to his friend, not down there, because they were the same age. And kids don't walk in a straight line. They walk up steps, they're in the gutter, they're up and down. So Bob's very observant about that. But they wouldn't pay him. Because an article came out about how much money Chevy was making on this, and John Candy, and all these people. And Bob was a preeminent actor at the time. And so then one day he said, okay, when we had to take this picture for the 75 years of Paramount, whoever worked at Paramount. And then after that, he says, I can't, Penny, I'll be upset. And Jim Brooks said, offer him your salary. So I said,
Still learning.
Bobby, Bobby, you want my salary? He said, no, what would I want your salary for? We're in it together, I'll take Jim's salary. And that was a much bigger salary than mine, by the way. And then once he wanted to do it, he gave me a great deal of validity as a director, because he was one of our best actors. And who's in every comedy now, folks? But Ben Stiller, but Bobby was funny in a different way. He had a different behavior funny.
But who talked you into Tom?
Well, no, once Bob said yes, then everyone wanted to do it. So Tom came back.
From big, you became an A director.
Yes.
You went on and did what?
I got a deal at Fox from doing big, because even Jumpin' Jack Flash was Fox, so was big.
But what was the second after big?
Then I developed League of Their Own.
There was a picture.
I saw a documentary, and that's, as much as I hate stupidity and ineptness, if you're ignorant of something, like I didn't know about this league, so I figure if I don't know, somebody else doesn't know. So I figured, well, it's worth knowing about. And so no women writers wanted to write it, so I went to Lowell Gans, who had developed Laverne and Shirley.
TV guys.
TV guys and Babalu, and they wrote the script. And while they were writing, I read the script Awakenings, which read like a medical mystery to me. And my mother, bless her, had Alzheimer's at this point. Not a pleasant disease, let me tell you. First, she was a little funny with it, She would get lost on the bus, and his wife would be called to jail. She was regaling hookers with her dancing school story. She was happy as can be, but later on, it's not.
Sad.
It gets a little
My
sad.
wife's a nurse. She was good in
That's
crisis.
why he married her.
Yes.
He's allergic to the world, by the way.
Hypochondriac, yes.
Yeah,
But-
I did Awakenings because League wasn't ready. And that's something they didn't expect. They expected Jumpin' Jack Flash, they expected big. But Awakenings was, my friends even did not expect that kind of movie from me. And I put some humor in it, so. And I went to Bobby because I owed him from giving me validity, and then I had to counter him, so I went to Robin, who I had done Mork and Mindy with.
Yes, well, when she was on Laverne, we brought in Mork, and she and Henry went and talked to Mork. Tell him how it is to be a star of a TV show. She
You're
was a
wrong. I
great
did
help.
everything. I did Bosom Buddies, I did Taxi, and they always said, play yourself, like I have a range. I don't have that big a range. This is the way I talk, this is the way I act. I'm not doing Shakespeare in the Park anytime soon. And so this is how I am, Oh, be yourself, all right, whatever that is. So I knew everyone on the lot. It was like a campus back then, so that was neat. And so you run into each other. But they all became directors. And so I did Awakenings, and then they wanted a different director to do League of Their Own.
No, but Awakenings was, she should have got a prize, in my opinion. Awakenings. That was because she was a girl, they were not sure.
Robin should have been nominated too, because he held the movie together, by the way. But I had a non-nominees party at my house. All those people who weren't nominated came to my house. And those who, after they finished, would come over. Carrie Fisher and I had these joint birthday parties. Our birthdays are 6 days apart, many years apart, but 6 days. So we knew a lot of the same people, so we had joint birthday parties, and we knew everybody. And so we had this party, and so as we're watching the show, I said, there's going to be a lot of depressed Italians coming. And because Goodfellas, except for Pesci, who was living at my house for 3 years, by the way.
A lot of people stay with her. She's got a nice
Well,
house.
they come out for a couple of days. Yeah, actors, yeah, no money, yeah. But Joe stayed for 3 years.
I remember. Can I do one Awakening story?
All right.
In the middle of Awakenings, I got some comedy award, and she was shooting. They called her, and she said, I'll send the tape. So I'm at the awards, and comes a tape with Penny and Robin, and they're shooting. And Awakenings took place at a nut house.
Mental and real
Right.
working
So she
psychiatric
says,
hospital.
and she's tired. She said, Gary, congratulations. I'm standing here. And she wanted to say in a mental institution, but she said, I'm standing here in a menstrual institution. And without hesitation, Robin said, it's a period piece.
Which it was.
It was. It was. It brought down the house. Her tape was the funniest thing at my award.
It took place then.
But then into League.
Awakenings came out. It got nominated. Bob got nominated, the writers and the producers, and not me. So Marty Scorsese, who had lost for Goodfellas, came over and said, look, first of all, you're Italian. Forget about it. Second of all, you're a woman. Forget about it doubly. You don't got a chance in hell. And so I said, all right, it didn't matter to me. Everyone was at my house eating that chicken and macaroni and cheese. Streisand came over after, they all knew the food we'd serve, We weren't fancy.
Good eats at her house.
Well,
yeah.
good eats. And so then did League, which I wasn't sure of working with that many women, but because we used to work with guys. And so
13 women you had there.
well, 12 on each team. There were other people on other teams. And Taylor Leone was on the other team.
Yeah.
Janet Jones was on the other team when she felt like coming. But she's a great athlete.
Yeah.
And,
There's some women who can really play.
Well, they had to pass Rod Dato, may he rest in peace, USC's baseball coach. They all had a test so they could really play. It's not like a football movie where you could cover them up, or hockey. They were in skirts and you saw their faces. So you got to have people who could play. So I wouldn't read you if you couldn't play.
And she didn't let them wear batting gloves, so they all got blisters.
Oh, no, they could, batting gloves, no, they didn't have that. I thought you meant, they all practiced, just throwing is the hardest for the girls. Yeah. It's a different body structure. When they finally got to playing, there's no webbing in period gloves. Ann Ramsey, ball went right, first baseman, sorry, she was a lefty, a righty, went right through, broke a nose.
And you had the Mo and Rose show.
Yes, well, because the girl dropped out, her pilot went for television. That's when they do a show, and the network sees whether you want to pick it up. So I lost my dancer all the way May. So I went to Madonna, because that's too long a name for me to say, and said, I read she wanted to be in. So I said, want to be in movies. She said, do you want to see if I could pitch? I said, no. I said, I need to dance, and I got to see if you could play. So she went to St. John's and tried out at St. John's in New York on her way to Cannes, which was the year. So I made Rosie and Madonna best friends, because Rosie was too good a player and too good an actress. Even though she was a little chubby. So I said, you keep food out of her mouth and help her set her hair, and you teach her how to play better. And so they became best friends and still are to this day, good friends.
From League of Their Own?
Those girls worked their butts off. They worked injured. Lori Petty caught a foot on home plate. But luckily they had high socks to wear, cover the cast. You know, Rosie had broken fingers. They all had broken something.
They all had, but again, we were always there for these. She called
She
me on a
called-
Friday and said, "Get on a plane. I lost an actor. You're acting, right?"
Yeah, I wanted Christopher Walken, but we
I
couldn't
did too.
afford him. But so I went to my brother. My daughter played Betty Spaghetti, you know, in the movie. Tracy. And I think Amy's here. Amy, are you here?
Where's Amy Lemish?
She said she was coming. She called me. She's shy. I'm waving. Okay, Amy started out as my assistant. She was on Awakening. She said, "I think I need help." Jumping Jack Flash and Big, she did alone with me. Then on League, she said, "I think I need some help." So I hired Bonnie, who lives in New York. They both have the same birthdays. They both met their husbands on Awakenings. And they both have 2 kids each. Amy has 2 girls. Bonnie has 2 boys.
And Amy is now
Head of the California Film Commission.
pretty far. And Christine is with Sonny.
And Kristen, who came in at Crips, as I called her. Kristen came in. She works at Sony. You here, Chris? Kristen?
Yeah, they're all here.
They're here somewhere. Here
Anyway,
you are. Hey, Crips.
I came. The picture did good. And,
Picture, which, believe me, I went from Fox, who I said to Barry Diller, "You want to make $7 million back?" Because that's what they were in for, was sets and paying more people. And so he said, "Yes." And so I went to Sony, because Awakenings went through Sony, because Fox didn't want to do it. It was a dead project. So we'll even let you do that girls' movie. You know, they thought all their girlfriends would be in it. And so I had real players. They were good players.
They could play it, and we got to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Right?
Yes. And all the real ladies who I did the movie for were in the last scene and present when they went to the Hall of Fame. And they're like 60, 70 years old, slide into home plate. And actually, this year is the 20th anniversary of the movie, the 40th anniversary of when they got in the Hall of Fame, and the 60th anniversary of the league. So I was in New York doing book stuff, and they said, "Could you go to Sony? Can you go to Syracuse?" "Not really. I'm not in Syracuse. I don't have time." They had you booked like this. And I was going to go to Milwaukee, which I did. I met Obama, very nice man.
They both hung out in Milwaukee.
We hung out in the back in Milwaukee. We talked about smoking. I'm sorry, I smoke. And so he says he uses the gum, and I don't like the gum. You know, and I mean, that's the 3rd president I met. I met Carter. We went because All in the Family chair was retired, and so we went there, and so I met. "What do you say to her? Hello?" I said, "You look tired. You need a nap." I sort of treat everyone the same. I don't care if they're the president or they're the cop or the fireman. I didn't know the garbage men who love me in New York. They'll give me a ride anytime. "Where you going, Penny?"
We've talked about the good times. We read a health issue. We got whacked once in a while.
Yeah, I got whacked. I got whacked in 2009. Actually, I went to the doctor. He says, "You got a little spot on your lung. We got to watch that." Never watched it. 8 months later, I'm in New York at a Giants game. The Giants had won the year before. I got my leg bling on, but that's another story. But I'm at the Giant game. My friend works for the Giants, Joanne. And out comes this big wooden thing, a replica of the trophy. And inside is Michael Strahan, who jumps out. You know, and everyone cheered and all that stuff. And so I was with Otis Anderson and Harry Carson, I think. So then we had both older Giants. And then I went to, and you had to go all the way around the cement and go down. And lucky, I've been in most every arena for basketball. I love basketball, so does my brother. I have Lakers, I have Clipper tickets, I have Laker tickets. I've been to almost every arena in New York. I go to Knicks, Nets now. I haven't been to Brooklyn yet, what that's about. But I used to go to New Jersey because no one else would. And so anyway, I went home, and my friend said, "You're walking funny." I said, "I don't think so." And I must have the masseuse up, who will come at any hour of the day or night. Not that she's great, but she does come. And so I must have taken my Xanax or something. And so Ronald Perlman, a dear friend of mine, not the actor, the Revlon billionaire.
She directed commercials for him.
I
and they've
did
been
a series
friends
of
ever since.
Revlon commercials for him after Big. Barry Diller turned me on to him. And so he had a call waiting downstairs. I went to the hospital, and they said, you have a brain tumor and lung cancer.
They just say it.
All right. I said, I'm very calm in terrible situations. So I said, is the driver still here? I said, can you send him to White Castle? And since I've said this on a couple of shows, White Castle has sent me blankets, keychains, clippers from New York. But you can't get the frozen ones. You got to get the real ones. I had one driver who I made him drive all over the place because I wouldn't go to a White Castle that wasn't shaped like a castle. And so anyway, I'm in the hospital. Ronald's taking care of me. He got doctors, and he called my brother, sister, and me, and my daughter in. And
we flew in right away, and we were there together just before Ronnie, myself, and Penny, and said, "You're going under."
I was not pleasant. I'm not a good patient. I'm not pleasant to the nurses, who I find a little dumb. And
not all.
And the doctor he got was getting a quick divorce, and he wanted to leave because he was going fishing and hunting in Florida. So they don't read the 80 million forms you fill out. And I'm allergic to opiates. So is my brother. We are both allergic. Well, he has a lot more allergies, but I'm allergic to latex, rubber, opiates. So you write this down, big letters, penicillin, big letters. And, the doctor, I went out to the Bianni's. Oh, by the way, let me just say, can I do this or we'll wait this?
What?
Bianni's, the brain thing.
Yes, well, I'm saying you hear about this and that. What you really hear about Penny, her charities. She does a lot of charity stuff that they don't say on E! Channel. They want to know what.
E.T., which sucks, by the way.
They want to know the gossip.
I landed up defending Britney Spears, a person I don't even know. But you see the girl's in trouble. You think hitting her every day is going to help her? I just think that's not good.
But you do
this thing, which I left the hospital to do before the brain surgery. It's called Bianni's. It's the Brain Institute Association for New York State. A friend of ours was in a hit and run. Lorraine Brock, are you here, Lorraine? She's there. She's going to be there. Rain and I knew the guy who got in a hit and run who still had brain damage, and we got involved with this Brain Institute Association for New York State. So we had that thing that Wednesday night. So I said, I'm going. And Ronald said, you're not going. I said, I have Otis Anderson next to me. If I fall, he'll catch me. He's a big guy. And, but it's for the vets coming home. There's soldiers coming home without brain injuries. And any of you here, by the way, if you have charities that you're involved in, whatever they are, I'll sign a book. Get a book. I'll sign it. Then you can put it up for auction, to donate to the charity.
Because you got to give back.
You got to give back in any way you can. It's a little way, but you do it. And Lorraine and I are going to, so I left because I had a hydrogen car I was going to arrive in, which at least works if you have the right station you could fill it up with. But I had that. They donated that for the evening. And we went and we did that.
And during 9/11, she was one of the great helps of. That's why the fire and police department of all New York City love her. She was at every event.
After I had a movie, they moved up Riding in Cars with Boys because it wasn't violent. So it came out October 19th, and because we weren't violent, I called Lauren and said, Lauren, I need a Saturday Night Live date for Drew Barrymore, and she said she got it. Then she didn't show up. Penny, yes, it's Lauren. Yeah, she's not here. Okay, let me find her. Where are you? Why didn't you? Well, I was scared. Get on the plane. It's not about the movie. Just you represent a generation. Say it's safe to be in New York.
Yes, that's what was needed.
That's what was needed. I didn't care what the movie said. What can I do? As this president saying, don't go to malls. I didn't think it was going to be a big hit, and I went in. Because Garry and I had a birthday party, so I went in, and they wouldn't have a premiere. And I wanted to, the caterers, the limo people, I wanted to make them make $1. And
But you were there for New York.
then I
alone.
stayed. I stayed in New York. I was at everything that happened. Any fireman. Dennis Leary did an amazing amount of work because he's a fire
So
person.
it was great giving back there.
And
but-
Patty Smythe and I gave blankets and seats to our local Engine 74, which is our local firehouse, and did whatever we could. And I was at those baseball games, the World Series against the D-backs, which the Yankees had no right to win any games. They won those 3 games in New York, which helped the city so much, just in spirit. Doesn't matter they lost the series. But 3 games in New York they won, and God bless them for that. And was at the basketball game with, the
But you
Wizards
s-
and Knicks. But I
but-
still do, whatever charity. I got a kid I help take care of who's in a wheelchair. He goes to college. He's a good kid.
But the only people, I don't want to shock you, there's some street gangs in L.A. One of the few who gets involved with the...
I'm big in the inner city, okay? I don't know if it's because we were poor on Laverne and Shirley, so they could identify with us more than the Cosby family that weren't so poor, or because I directed Preacher's Wife, which is the first black Christmas movie,
Yes. Was,
which they put out a little late for me on Christmas Day. No, it took
but it was Denzel and Whitney.
Whitney and Courtney Vance.
And just Whitney was a good...
Whitney was great. I don't care. It's very sad. I was very hurt, sad when she died. It was not Bobby's fault. Bobby was already remarried with a kid, It was... Whitney, I never saw her that way. She was fine. She always knew her lines. She was there. She was funny as shit, by the way. Very funny. She had a strange cousin who one night we were sitting there, and he was trying to convince us, talking about the Bible, that, when Geppetto lived in the whale. And I'm looking at Whitney, and Whitney and I are dying, trying not to laugh. I said, I don't believe it was Geppetto. I think it was Jonah. Geppetto was Pinocchio's father. And Whitney and I were just on the floor laughing, But she had a great sense of humor. She knew her lines. And she's someone that I said, I'm going to block it for you, stage it for you, She said, thank you. She never didn't know her lines. Sometimes she would be late, but her people were called the AD, and she didn't hold the movie together, So you could switch to shoot this scene first. But that was when, Bobby was in Atlanta or something. Bobby drank more than anything, and so he wasn't even in town. He came to visit us twice.
Not Bobby De Niro. This
No.
is Bobby Brown. I'm just here to clear up.
No.
But she was, you got a good performance. in
No,
it.
she was terrific, and she was a great girl. And I'm just sorry that, I think some people she was involved with, not Bobby, or Sissy. Sissy was in the movie too, her mom. And some other people in her family are not the best people to be around, or feed in the wrong things, give in to her, because that's what happened with people who are big stars, They have those celebrity doctors and shit that they get their way, and that's not good for people, whoever you are. And if you're nobody, you're better off something. They kept saying in the rag papers, pray for her, she's dying with liver cancer. I don't drink, there's nothing wrong with my liver. Never has been.
The operation
I
worked on
smoked
the
because
other
I
people.
had a thing here. I smoked since a cigarette went in. And it metastasized, whatever the word is, to here. And
But
so
it didn't hurt. in your
nothing hurts. It didn't hurt.
That's
And
right.
I never hurt. All I did is most people get sick and waste away. I gained 60 pounds. I got 60 pounds and I got hard nails. Something, I had soft nails. I didn't buy them, but I play with them. And they'd be like mushy. Now I got hard nails. That was my experience. And knock wood, I'm okay. But when there's a slow news day.
Clean as a whistle.
And in the book, let me just say, in the book on tape, there's also my sister, when my mother did die,
Yes, we did have some deaths.
Yes, we've dealt with my grandmother dying, thank the Lord. My mother dying,
93.
92. The oldest person here, okay. The blind one. My grandfather died, I was in camp, they didn't tell me. We didn't want to upset you.
Yes, that's what they thought.
But Gary was in Hawaii, I was in New York when my mom died. So my sister was left with my mother and the death of my mother. So she does in the book on tape.
In book on tape, usually one person does it. She goes, she did a little.
So I wasn't there, but she didn't get a receipt for the body. I know that, we didn't know where she was. And it was a Sunday. Don't die on a Sunday. Not a good day.
Not good. A lot of problems on a Sunday.
During Christmas on a Sunday. Don't.
Not good.
It's like all psychiatrists go away in August.
But it turned out, after all was said,
I got to do
Mom-
this while you're doing. Go ahead.
that Mom had an influence on funny was it.
Oh, yeah. We had to be funny or else we would have killed ourselves.
Because
She wasn't the pleasantest. No,
No.
she didn't know what sarcasm was. This is the fake one.
Yes, it's fake. It's not real. Smoke comes out, but don't worry, it's not
Could do this. I
secondhand.
not make them crazy at the games. So.
All right.
And straight
Anyway,
on planes.
plastic. We're selling
Metal.
these. With the book, you get a free
But
one.
most of the time, I don't have it on. But most of the time, I cough more from the fake cigarettes. I do. Most of them I can't smoke, but this green one is pretty good. It's called green something.
Some of your other hobbies you should mention is a lot of people don't know that Penny is like, I am not good, is a whiz at puzzles and games. She's just so good at, and you can't play with her because she's so quick. When you play a board game, you roll the dice and you go to count, she moves it. Moves all the pieces.
No,
for you.
Ronnie does that too. Want to come up for a sec, Ron?
Come on up. And then we'll do some questions. Is Heather
Then
here?
we'll take questions from you.
Come on up here. I'll
Or I
stay.
could go outside and smoke a real cigarette.
No. If you got, not yet, sit a minute here.
This is
Hi.
my sister, Ronnie.
I was the sickly child, and Penny
She was the healthy one.
She was
and
the nice one.
feminine one. And I was the bad seed.
good. Did maybe
But we had
actually,
fun.
she's
Well,
not,
well, you weren't there.
she's not just hanging out. Ronnie produced all our TV shows under a different name. They were Garry Marshall, so she worked.
And
under
she was married to a guy named Hallen. So that's
name,
why
Ronnie.
Ronnie
Ronnie
Hallen.
Hallen. She was married.
I changed my name back after I got divorced the first time because I was married to Michael Henry. So Penny Henry was sort of a stupid name. Penny, the sky's falling. So I knew before it was in fashion, take your old name back. But she, kept her married name.
Because I had children who had a different name.
Yeah, well, I had three names between Rob and myself and Tracy, with the last name was Henry. Pick a name.
But
So
you
she
were
took
there
Bryna.
for all the shows. You want to ask any questions of Ronnie or Penny for a second? We can have a.
You want to sit and go to the bathroom or something?
No, I'm going to dance.
He has to go.
I'm dancing around. Is there any questions you'd like to say that we haven't
Makes me
covered?
choke.
Have you kept up with the tap dancing?
I only for money. Any tap dancing you saw on Laverne and Shirley came from my mother.
But we did take lessons that one time. when we went on La Brea someplace.
Well, because it's more fun than exercising. But now they got that Zumba and that other Chinese Korean guy.
But everybody was like 100 years old and they were dancing circles around us. We were so out of shape.
But they were both under June Taylor dances.
No,
and
she
wasn't.
wasn't. I was.
She was in it. But
I was
they
under
knew
second.
those days. With
She was in college. She was
ran away
happy.
to Chicago.
And got married, was happy, has 3 kids. Both have 3 kids. I got 1.
I got 3. Anyway, other questions?
Did you guys ever get the chance to find out how proud your mother was of you?
No,
No?
I didn't. She said,
Ronnie?
why does your brother make you dress so stupid? That's what she told me.
But she was getting sick by then.
Yeah,
She was, Alzheimer's is not pretty if you're gone through it.
it's a bad disease. But even before that, she wasn't too thrilled with us. No, she asked me, she said, change your name. I told him, Gab, my mommy said I should change my name. I said, why? She said, she doesn't want me to embarrass the family.
Yeah, that's why
He says, she's crazy, don't listen to her.
she just wanted to get married, me to live, and Penny not to embarrass anybody.
But she
I
told,
remember the time that we were in the WAMU show at Northwestern as dance partners even, and I thought she's going to be so proud. She couldn't make it out because it was her dance recital, so she never did see that.
and when she moved out to L.A., my mother told her, don't go see Penny, she knows Charles Manson. I didn't know him. What could I say? And she, you know Charles Manson? No. I don't know. But that's the kind of thing she said, you know.
That's
When you first recognized that you had the key talent of imagination, when did you get that message?
That I learned I had an imagination? Is that what you asked me?
yes.
Directing wise?
No,
When did you recognize
Did
you
I
had the
recognize
talent
You
it?
of
thought
it?
you'd be an athlete or something.
I wanted to be in the Olympics. I was a fast runner. But
Really?
that wasn't encouraged. I was a good athlete. But what I did was that, yeah, I imagined that I had a loving family, too. I imagined a lot of things, because you'll go nuts. But I just, imagination wasn't it. It was whether you could get through it. I was scared. Fear and insecurity make you do weird things. You know, so I'd say things, you know, because I was scared, and they'd laugh at them. Even on The Odd Couple, you know, it said, Myrna says this, and she laughs. Well, I didn't know how to laugh.
But she made one up.
So I was trying to indicate to the writers that I knew I was supposed to laugh. Cindy taught me how to laugh years later. So I went, and they laughed. So that became Myrna's laugh. Yeah, but that's just by accident, and I wanted to tell them I knew what they wanted, but Cindy taught me much later, you breathe out. I didn't know.
No, but here's the first on Odd Couple. She was Myrna Turner, I was Werner Turner, and you were Werner Turner, and we came and we did the laugh all at once. Once more. That was the end of an Odd Couple. There you go.
Yeah, I recently saw a great movie called More Than Friends, and I was
More Than
wondering
Friends I did with Rob, yes.
exactly, and I was wondering if you could tell us if any of that storyline paralleled your own life.
Probably did. I mean, we didn't know each other growing up. He lived across the street from me in the Bronx, but the Grand Concourse is a big street, and he moved to New Rochelle when he was 7. So I didn't know him, and he went to a different public school. He went to 8, I went to 80. But he said I was the first Jewish girl he ever liked. And I said, well, that's because I'm not Jewish. But he didn't care. They weren't religious. And some of it may have later. More, I think, the one he directed that Nora wrote, which was with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
When Harry met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally, a lot of pieces, because that table I bought at a garage sale, that wooden table. And at Redondo Beach swap meet. You know, so with pieces of that I recognized. Yeah, but it was very fun. My niece, her oldest, took a picture in Chicago. Misery, which Rob directed, was with Awakenings on the double bill. So he took a picture of that. So I just saw where we were in our lives. But life goes on. Very talented guy, you know, and very funny. You know, why would I be with someone that long? My mother said, don't marry dull. Boring. The worst. Rob was not dull. Still boring.
Any future plans to direct?
To direct, I got some scripts, but then they always want to, now that I hope they feel I'm not dying. I mean, the whole NBA was praying for me, let me tell you. When I came back after I had this thing done, I came back to LA, and I must say, you know, I love the NBA. And they all came up, because that was true. I did have a brain tumor, and it's fine. And they all came, we were hoping, and praying, and you're hugging big 6'9" guys. It's great, sweaty or not. And they were terrific to me, as were the people at the Staples Center. But I have some scripts that they keep running and say, well, if we put your name on it, like that'll get it made. I don't know so much. There are a couple of scripts I like, but no one has the money to make them, is what the problem is.
Independent now. I just had one last question, because I'm sure there are a lot of people, you go through life, things go wrong. And I know Penny has gone through ups and downs, illness, and then...
He had illness. that
I
we
was
didn't
sick,
talk
up and
about.
down, but Penny herself...
Healthy as a horse.
Healthiest one. Sitting up straight.
The good eater. She was the good eater.
She ate well. But I was just wondered, could you say what? I mean, you get whacked, you give up. You never gave up. Whatever happened, you came back. And is there any reason you came back, or you just said...
Came back from where? New York?
When things were bad.
Oh, well, what else are you going to do? Sit around? You could just do so many crossword puzzle and jigsaw puzzle. I'm reading so many books. I mean, you got to keep doing, to stay alive, you got to keep functioning. And whatever level, in whatever area, you feel secure enough to function, whether it's giving back, whether it's doing charity, whether it's, keep working, whatever it is you want to do. And as far as, they kept trying to say I was a trailblazer because I was a woman director. There were women directors before me. It just that now 100 million's nothing, Back then it was something. But I didn't think, because I didn't ask for the job. I think a lot has to do with luck, and I think having to be in the right place and know the right people. I don't dislike a lot of people. If you cross me, don't. But life's too short to keep harboring shit, You let it go. And you just don't hang around those people. But as far as you got to keep doing something that you get enjoyment out of, whatever it is. I like to see men in not a lot of clothes run around bouncing the ball.
That's it. Thank you very much for being a